This conference will now be recorded.
Getting a jump start and getting things ready here this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh goodness, I slept late. We had to take my father fell off of a ladder yesterday. He's 80 and he
Oh my
thinks he's
goodness.
6 or he thinks he's 40.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he crushed the bone in his heel and they don't know if he cracked the bone. I forget what it's called between the knee and the foot. So anyway, he's going to the doctor today. They let him go home because he's healthy as a horse. Thank goodness. So, but you know,
I know these parents.
I know, right?
Goodness. All right, guys, it is 7:30. We are going to get started with our December 2019 Leadership Roundtable. This is the last Leadership Roundtable of the year. The next one will be in 2020. We're going to talk about core values today. But in order to get there, we've got a couple of housekeeping tips and some best practices for presidents, vice presidents, secretary, treasurers, things that we are seeing trends on that we might need a little bit extra reminder on, and just an upkeep on who's running the show. We do have Dr. Ivan Meisner, which is the founder and chief visionary officer of BNI. And then we have Graham Miller, who is housed out of Charlotte, North Carolina, which is our CEO of BNI Global. We have Mr. Dave Driscoll, who is our regional director, who's based out of Columbia, Missouri. And then we have the regional team, which includes myself, Casey Howell, Angie Johnson Posey, Whitney DeWitt, and Dustin Latchford. I do need to replace his picture because he has moved. And so we do now have Christy Diaz that has taken over the area director position for the rest of the Arkansas East Territory in the Little Rock area. We also have support staff. We have Selena Ulasowicz in the Conway area. We have Karen Monet in the Missouri area. We have Megan Frank in Missouri. We have Jerry Baker, who is helping out in Jonesboro and in Missouri. We have Greg, who is in Greg Vaughn, who is in Missouri, and we have Marsha McKinney, who is in the Conway area. So to BNI's core values, we always want to talk about those core values. That is what today's presentation and discussion is going to be on. We have several different staff members, support staff members, who's going to take and discuss the core values and what it is it means to them. And we have our Power of One status for November. We have not gotten the December report yet. It does usually come out the second Tuesday of the month, so we should be seeing that within the next week. But for November, we do need to congratulate our 100%ers, JD Webster, who is very consistent in being on that 100%, as well as Darlene Reed out of Saxton. So congratulations to you guys. And I know that Darlene is on the call. So if you want to know how to achieve that 100% status, I would reach out to Darlene since she's on this call and schedule a one-to-one with her. And she can give you her tips and tricks of the trade. We like to always recognize our members and great things that they're doing in their businesses, in their chapters, in their communities. So we want to congratulate Brandy, Laura, and Greg. They all received an award from the Chamber of Commerce. Greg was the Ambassador of the Year, so congratulations to Greg on his achievements there. I did see the picture where Brandy and Laura also received an award. So congratulations to you guys. If you have anything great going on with your members in your chapters, please let me know so we can bring special recognition to those folks as well. Don't forget the December to remember. If you want to win $400 for your chapter's holiday party, today I believe is the last day that they are tallying the numbers, so they will pull the final report today, I believe, and then notify who in our area will get up to $400 applied to their holiday party. I know that we have at least 4 chapters out of the 12 who have qualified to be in that drawing. We want to bring recognition to those new members that we've had in the last 30 days. We have new members in Jonesboro, Conway, and in the SEMO area. So congratulations to you guys for growing your numbers and including these people in BNI to help grow their business and help them grow yours. Regional announcements, we definitely want to, like I said a while ago, if you have anything that is outstanding for your members, just bring awareness to it, because we do want to celebrate those achievements. If somebody has gotten an award for their business, they've done something great, please let someone know, post it on Facebook. That way we can celebrate their achievements. Also, we have a couple chapters that need some immediate attention. So if there's somebody from Bluff City, Tracy is still in that pending renewal. We need to make sure that everybody's following the process in renewing members, submitting new applications, and things like that. River City, you guys have 3. I did, so Tracy, I do not know what the missing piece is. Has she paid? Have you guys uploaded the transaction ID or the payment method of her renewal? And that could be the case on several of these. I know B2B, I'm working with them. They have 2 members that are late. Just remember, if you do have somebody that's up for renewal, they need to be renewed before the first day of the month in which their membership is due. If they are 15 days late, if they're 1 day late, they get a $50 late charge. If they're 15 days late, they do get dropped from the BNI Connect system and they no longer can access BNI Connect. And if they are 30 days late, then they have to start the application process all over again. So if that day 31 hits, it's the $199 application fee, and it has to go through all of the membership committee processes and everything in order to reactivate or re-enroll that person into your chapter. So we have a couple people who are falling into that category, and we want to try to prevent those. I know that Austin Boots, he was up for December 1st. I don't know if everything's been done with him. I know that I have reached out to the B2B chapter, worked with them to make sure that those 2 knew what was going on. And what happens is if they do not have access to BNI Connect any longer, we have to submit a support ticket for them to email them an invoice so they can pay it and then try to, okay, so Austin paid on Saturday, so that's good. All we need to do is upload that transaction ID, and then that'll clear him off of the system. But we do have several. I know River City Networkers, if anybody from that chapter is on the call, we have several, and these are going to take some extra special considerations in getting these people off of the immediate resolution list, because I know that Linda, they never received her payment, and she actually wrote a check. So we need to find out where the checks were mailed. I know that I've emailed Linda. So if somebody from that chapter is on the call, if y'all can reach out to Linda to see if her check has cleared the bank. I know that that's kind of crazy, but we have checks coming in from all over the place. Members up for renewal December 1st. Ideally, you need to have these people kind of through the process before the end of the month, and we need to take into consideration that we have Christmas and stuff like that. So we have Jared, we have one in Jonesboro, we have two in Jonesboro, we have one in Conway and two in the Cape area. So be on top of those and make sure those people get renewed in a timely manner. Member success program training, we are working on possibly doing some blended learning and helping people do the online member success program. I ran this report last night, and these people are on the list for not having had the member success program training, which is really great to help kickstart your information on using BNI to the best of your ability. Caller 8, I'm not sure who you are, but I'm going to mute you because that was giving some feedback noise. So if we can help these chapters get on BNI University and work through that process of the member success program training, that is great. Get your mentors on board with this to help kickstart these members. If they have done it and they have their certificate, they can send it to me and I can go in and manually put it in, and that's great. But I need to see that completion certificate. A lot of people said, I've completed it, but there's like 3 segments and they've completed one of the 3. So make sure that they have gone in and done that. If you have trouble in BNI Connect, don't forget to use that little question mark symbol by everything that is listed, because it's gonna pull up a quick reference guide and walk you through everything that there is to know about that little subject. So let's talk about some of the best practices before we get into our core values for today. Presidents, the question to you is, are you using the approved BNI agenda? If you are not, do you need the agenda? We want to try to make sure we hit all of the parts and the pieces to the meeting. That way we can show everybody, as far as visitors, how the meeting is run. That is why we want to make sure that we incorporate all the parts and the pieces to the meeting, so that everybody can know what it is we're looking for, how to market them, what we have done, and stuff through the previous week. Vice presidents, this guys is something that we are struggling with a little bit, and that's the membership application process. Renewals, I already mentioned. They are coming up with new and innovative ways of uploading applications and all that stuff on the BNI of the Ozarks website, as well as putting it in BNI Connect. They haven't fully rolled out where applications can be submitted online. They do have it where you can pull up the application and fill it out, but you do have to at least print it or email it to the vice president. It isn't fully submitted online yet. So if you guys need help with this, please reach out to your support directors, reach out to myself or your previous vice president, and they can help walk you through this. Secretaries actually have more hands-on with the application and entering the data after the member has been approved by the membership committee. So that's something that's new, and we did not have prior knowledge to that before we did the chapter success training. And guys, we have definitely recognized where we were lacking in the chapter success training this last year. So we are definitely working on that for next year. So where do you find these resources? You go to BNI of the Ozarks and you go to the Member and Leadership Resources tab. Everything on the right side of the screen gives you where you can go and put in an application. You can reinstate a member. You can go in to drop a member from your chapter. This is where you go. This is where you do it. Secretary treasurers, I know that we covered this during the chapter success training. Always remember that we have 2 BNI events that we do every single year that you have to budget for. Ideally, $500 for each one of those events. We have the September training for the leadership. We also have what was called the March Madness or the All-Star event. It is going to be renamed a little bit, but it happens in March. So that's why we always collect monthly dues from our members, because that helps pay for these events. It helps pay for our meeting space. So what if your members are not paying their dues? You can do a couple of different things, and these are some of the things that have come from other chapters. Send them a letter stating, hey, you have this long in order to pay for your dues to come up to date. You remove them from the speaker rotation. If they're on the speaker rotation, you can send the invoice. If they are an employee of a company, you can send an invoice to the employer. You can add late fees if you deem that is necessary. You can put them on probation. If they are up for renewal, you can choose not to renew those members based on that information. That is for your leadership team and your membership committee to decide as to what to do to hold everybody accountable. But make sure you have enough reserves in your bank account, and you have to hold all of your members accountable in order to do so. So those are a couple tips that you can take and utilize, which brings us to the topic of the day, the giver's gain. And Miss Jerry Baker,
Yes.
you are going to tell us what giver's gain means to you.
Okay. To me, it's the golden rule, and that's giving business to others without expecting it back. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer for people in our culture. What goes around comes around, because when I know personally, when someone gives me business, I am on purpose to find business for them. And I think that's basically what we're all about. It creates a culture that others desire. And it's like there's a lost and found, and I think that's kind of our found. That's what makes us shine, and that's what it means to me.
Absolutely. Now, giving business to someone, do you necessarily get business back from that particular person?
No, not always. And I don't always get business for the people that, give me business. But as long as I try, I think as long as we try, keeping that on purpose of, doing my best, then that's giver's gain. We can't guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as we are giving our sales manager moments or our weekly keynote address and letting people know what it is that we need to help grow our business, we're actively trying to give to that person. It may be quicker for some, it may be later for others. But the thing is, it eventually, like exactly what you said, what comes around goes around.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that you would help, like, have some words of wisdom to keep in mind for people as they go throughout the week when they are trying to listen for the key words for their chapter members?
Okay, say that. What do you mean? Like
Like,
personally, what?
yeah, personally, is there anything that you can just give us a little tip of wisdom to have that giver's gain mentality for our partners in our chapter throughout the week?
Well, I mean, doing life, I when someone needs, like, I'm looking for someone personally to do my floor, which has nothing to do with my business. I need my my floor refinish. And I've had people in Jonesboro reach out to me because I've built that relationship with them. I've had people in Sykeston and Poplar Bluff, which is I would not have known them if it wasn't for BNI. So as we're doing life, we're always, I mean, I have this saying in my business that when a woman loves something, she tells everybody. And when a woman doesn't love something, she tells everybody. And it's kind of the same thing. I think that when we're doing life and we're out there and we see somebody that needs something, we need to refer them to the people that are in our chapter.
Absolutely. Very well said. Thank you very much, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
And we have building relationships. Greg Vaughn, are you on the call this morning? Greg? Greg, are you there? Okay, going once, going twice. He may be one of the callers that I don't have a name and may have trouble speaking. So let's go to Karen. Karen, I know you are here. Tell us about lifelong learning.
Well, for me, BNI core value of lifelong learning really speaks to my heart, because that's the kind of business I'm in. I'm constantly trying to learn everything about my industry so that I can pass that knowledge on and be a better coach, trainer, and speaker in my industry. I love that BNI gives us all these tools in BNI University and other trainings that is available for us, because it goes both ways. I need to be the best that I can be for my clients and for my members in my chapter, but I also need them to be the best they can be for me as well. So growth goes both ways. Growth today is an investment for tomorrow. When I use a member of my chapter or in BNI, I rely on them to be the best that they can be. And that means keeping up with their industry standards, laws, regulations, things of that nature. So I love that BNI gives us a lot of different ways to learn, because everybody has a different learning style. And so I appreciate the fact that you can listen to podcasts, or you can actually print them off, because I'm a reader. I don't like to listen, I like to read. So I actually print off the transcripts and read them. Different in BNI University. One thing that I really love about that is that when you're in the middle of a training and you get sidetracked, because we all do, when you go back, it picks up where you left off. So there's just so many things out there, and I really appreciate that core value that we have in this industry.
Yeah, and as far as lifelong learning, and I think you kind of touched on it, is we all do some sort of learning for our profession. And the things that BNI has, it's not always about BNI. It Some of it helps you just grow as an individual, that you can apply the information to your business. And I found that has helped me personally in BNI since I've been a member.
Exactly. As a member, we're given so much there that it helps us as business people, not just BNI. One of the things that I thought of was, I know a company that had this big software. They bought it, paid tens of thousands of dollars for it. But it's only as good as the people who knows how to run that software. And it's the same thing with BNI. BNI is a tool in our businesses, and it's only effective as how much you know about it and how well you learn about it.
Very cool. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back again. Greg, are you on the call? It's like Bueller. No. All right, we're gonna come back to that. Is Megan on the phone call? Megan, are you here? Let me just scroll down here and see if I see her name. No. Okay. Marsha. Marsha.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Marsha's going to talk to
Okay.
us about positive attitudes.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so I'm driving. I did have notes, but I can't look at them, so I'm going to wing it. But I'm so happy to do this after Thanksgiving holiday, because you know, that is a time for us all to be grateful. And that is really where positive attitude starts, is thankfulness and gratefulness. And I've been doing some workshops about being more grateful that have helped me a ton with that. But anyway, in BNI, having a positive attitude is a huge part of it. My group meets at 7 a.m. I don't always want to get up at 5 a.m. and go get ready and go to that meeting and be happy and cheerful, but I just make myself be positive about it. I think about all the things I can get from it, all the wonderful people I'm going to get to talk to, the new people I'm going to get to meet, and I turn it into a positive. And I think it's important to remember that we cannot control other people. We cannot control many situations, but what we can control is our attitude. And if we keep a positive attitude through every situation, then we're just going to be better in every aspect of our life. Also, turning negatives into a positive are just such a good learning tool. When something doesn't go as you planned, and you can find a way that you learned from it and that you can do better next time, that's also part of having a positive attitude. So that's what I have this morning.
All right. Thank you so much, Marsha. And with the positive attitude, I mean, it's so much more pleasant talking to somebody that has a more positive, upbeat attitude than somebody who is and I think we were joking around in the office one day, and we used this term. If we meet an Eeyore, it kind of brings us down when we try to talk to that person. So
Yes.
just talking, I mean, there's nobody better to talk about your profession than you enjoying your job. If you don't enjoy your job, then why are you here in BNI? Why are you trying to grow it? And why are you not having that positive attitude? And to me, it kind of goes hand in hand. I don't know what you think about that, but I feel like if I love my job, I'm going to naturally have a more positive attitude.
Yes, I agree.
So, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay, accountability. I know that I mentioned some of the stuff about accountability while ago as far as members' dues and stuff like that, but accountability means to me is I use this phrase a lot. I need to have an accountability partner. Um, with my profession and what I do for a daily job and business is I have people counting on me, and I have everybody that I encounter hold me accountable to teach them the best way and the best practices to use in the health field. Um, I teach CPR and first aid, and so I need all of my students to hold me accountable that I'm teaching it to the standard in which they need to learn. I need my BNI family to hold me accountable to teach them the appropriate way to look for and listen for referrals for me. I need, and Selena can attest to this because we kind of did it over the month leading up to Thanksgiving, is proper food and diet. I need people to help hold me accountable that I need to make better choices. So accountability to me means a lot of different things. And accountability, it seems like I cannot function appropriately if I'm not accountable. So having everybody that I encounter on a daily basis and I meet with every week, they are part of that accountability. And we do want our BNI members to, um, we want them to get the best out of their membership. And that's why we have a very tailored and structured agenda, is to help us stay on task and on target and to hold each other accountable. And I'm going to brag just a little bit on CMO success. They have had some challenges, and their leadership team, Amy, I know you're on the call. I think you guys have done a very, very fabulous job with some of the things that you guys have encountered recently. And I've actually shared some of that information with another chapter that's having very, very similar issues and says, here, this is what another chapter is doing. This may be something you want to look at as well. So that is what accountability kind of means to me, which brings us to, let me get over here. Miss Selena, you are going to talk about recognition. I know I've seen you on here.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Tell us about recognition and what it means to you.
So, recognition, like the positive attitude, it really starts with gratitude. And just finishing up November, a time when we're really paying attention to gratitude, is a great time to think about recognition. If you are grateful for something and you keep it to yourself, well, that helps you. But if you're grateful for something and you share it, that is recognition, and it can help bring a positive attitude and vibe not only to you, but to the person that you're recognizing and to the rest of the chapter, and then flow out into the community. So recognition is important. It starts with gratitude in yourself, but it's taking that gratitude and then sharing it with others so that it can bless others. And I think there are several levels of recognition that can happen in BNI. And the first ones are just those recognition pieces that you give basically around the Power of One reports and the chapter goals, like those notable networker certificates or celebrating as a chapter when you reach goals, but also recognizing the new members and the renewing members in your chapter. Those are kind of the recognition pieces that happen the most easily and naturally. But there's two more pieces of recognition that I think we should all have gratitude for and then show it. And that is acts of service to our chapter that come outside of the Power of One reports. So for example, our chapter, my home chapter, Conway Name Droppers, worked on finding a new location. And there was one member in particular who stood above and beyond and did more than what you would, quote, call his fair share in finding us a new location. And that member deserved recognition, not only for the sake of himself, but so that the rest of the chapter could see how hard he was working to serve us. And then another place that recognition is necessary is if you've heard that term golden goose before. The golden goose is someone that consistently gives you referrals that turn into thank you for closed business. And so that is someone that you as a business owner should absolutely be recognizing and showing great appreciation for. There are several ways to recognize others, like certificates are common, or saying special words, or even just saying thank you. But you might also consider thank you notes, gifts, other ways like that to show recognition are important too.
Absolutely. And some people don't like the certificates, but it is that testament that, hey, this is just our little token of appreciation. And I see some people, actually display them on their wall. So that is really cool when they do take those to heart. So thank you very much, Miss Selena.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm going to back up just a little bit, and I'm going to, I don't know what happened to Megan and Greg this morning, but we're going to talk a little, let's go back to building relationships and talk about that for just a second. Building relationships is something that I absolutely love, because the more connections that I make is the more reach that I have for my BNI members. And with being an area director, I have been able to send in referrals to people from, Missouri, from Soxton to Poplar Bluff, the Jonesboro area. I mean, I've been able to not only use services in all of those areas where I travel, but I've also been able to connect people in those areas as well. So when I build those relationships, I'm casting my net a lot wider and able to serve and have that giver's gain mentality. The other core value is traditions and innovations. And I'm going to ask any of my other support uh, directors that are on the call, what do the traditions and the innovations mean to you guys? I know that Megan was going to cover this with you guys, but I like traditions. How many of y'all had a very traditional Thanksgiving where you did give thanks and you had the turkey, the dressing, and things like that? I mean, a lot of us did, but then we get very innovative with the knowledge and things we have. But is there anybody that wants to add to the traditions or the innovations? Crickets, crickets, crickets. Okay.
I think the traditions are great because at Bluff City, they run a good meeting. They set the example. And when I go to Jonesboro, I'm able to take bits and pieces because that's what I live in my home group. And so the tradition of following the standard is I love being familiar. That's my personality. I like the knowing the same thing. So that tradition is makes my heart beat to be able to give that away.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Jerry.
And also on the other side of the innovations part, being innovative and coming up with other ideas, thinking outside the box, and always keeping up to date with everything. I think BNI does a good job of trying to keep their industry standards high and staying on course with that. So
Yeah, and that's another reason why we continually have the information being passed down the line, is to see what has worked well and what hasn't, and what changes that we're making. So all of that plays into the core values. I think out of all of those, the one Selena presented on is actually my favorite, the recognition. I like recognizing people who have gone above and beyond and done great things. Um, Leadership responsibilities. Part of the your membership being kind of frozen and suspended while you're on leadership, part of that is participating in the leadership roundtables. One of the things that they are moving to, and it's going to be a little bit challenging for being of the Ozarks East, because we're a lot spread out, but they are moving to doing live events. So that will be coming soon, where we can actually network in the room together. We are going to have to figure out the best and the logistics of how that is going to happen. We are going to continue doing webinars for the time being, but stay tuned for live events coming down the pipeline. If you're not on the call or you're not in the room where we are doing live events, then you're going to be charged or fined a month's worth of compensation on your membership starting in January. So this call, or the leadership roundtable, is for your entire leadership chain, your secretary, treasurer, your vice president, and your president. All other members are welcome to be on this call as well, because it's all knowledge that contributes to the chapter. So look for that to start making some transitions after the first of the year. Don't forget your holiday schedules. Notify your support director of if you are meeting, if you're not meeting, because I know that New Year's Day, um, Christmas Day fall in the middle of the week. And are you doing something to help supplement missing 2 meetings and stuff like that. So, which brings us to the next set of trainings and materials that we're going to be passing out, and that is the goal setting workshops. We have scheduled the goal setting for 4 different areas to try to make sure that no one person has to travel too much. So this starts in the middle of January. We do know that January tends to be a bigger risk for winter weather, so we will adjust and compensate as needed for the winter weather. But Cape Girardeau is going to be first up on the list. We are going to have a goal setting workshop for the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer in we're going to have it at Smokehouse 61 from 5 to 7 p.m. Dinner will be provided. So I do need you guys to register because I will need to keep a close eye on the head count. Jonesboro, we are going to do it over the lunch hour from 11:30 to 1:30 on January 16th at US Pizza. This is where the B2B chapter meets. We will have a pizza buffet set up, so lunch will be provided. In Conway, we are going to do it at my office on January 21st from 5 to 7 p.m. Dinner will be provided there as well. And we have Bluff City and Saxton, which are kind of, Jerry has gotten us a room at the Dexter Chamber of Commerce. We are going to do the event from 3 to 5. We will have light snacks provided there. That's halfway between the two. And we felt like that was a good place to meet so that no single person has to drive very far. So this is coming up in January. The next set of things that we will be working on after the goal setting workshop is the previously known as the All-Star event. We will have those in March. I have tentative dates that I will be starting to put together once I get venues secured. And again, we will probably do something very, very similar because driving tends to be a big issue. So we're not doing just 2 events, like before we did Springfield, we did Little Rock, and you had to go to one of those. We are going to try to make it more conducive to travel and more implement kind of the big breakfast, member extravaganza, the all-star, and recognizing people all in one big event. We will do this in conjunction with some of the Chamber of Commerce's and things like that. So look for those dates to come out in March. So our next leadership roundtable is going to be January the 6th, 6:30 a.m. And we are going to dive more in depth on the goal setting. We're going to talk about what is your chapter's vision. We're going to lay the groundwork for the 2-hour workshops that we're putting together in those areas. If you have not only the vice president, president, secretary, treasurer coming to that event, but if you want to have your mentor coordinator, your visitor host, they are more than welcome to come to those workshops as well. I just need to make sure that they do get registered so I have a head count for the food. So don't forget to log in to BNI Connect after this phone call and log your CEUs. You'll get 1 CEU for 1 hour of training, and this is a 1-hour training. So before we open up the mics for any questions, comments, concerns, focus on being productive instead of busy. And Tim Ferriss kind of said it because I'd rather be way more productive than just a busy bee and not get anywhere. So the microphones are officially open. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, you are self-muted, so you will have to unmute yourself.
Barbara, did you say that the meeting in January is at 6:30?
Where at? Which location?
You said 6:30 for the January 6th Leadership Roundtable.
Oh, no, it's at 7:30. Sorry.
Yeah, I was freaking. Okay.
Don't freak. Don't freak. It's Monday morning. Whew.
When you say live for the leadership roundtables, I think that's what you're saying. That means in person.
That does mean in person, yes.
So this meeting that I'm having right now
Mm-hmm.
in January on the 6th at 7:30, I've got to be somewhere else.
Right now, we are staying with webinars until we can figure out the logistics of actually having these in person.
Because I have sales meetings on Monday, and I mean, I can't miss work for this. I don't understand.
So is the live meeting going to be required by the leadership team, or just something that is requested if we're still on a call, it will still be counted?
I don't know, Cassie, I don't know how to answer that because the logistics have not been worked out. I do know that we are more of a disadvantage because we're so far spread out. I know that Springfield, they have everybody come to have everybody come to an office, and they do this live with everybody in the room. They do one in Columbia. They do one in Little Rock. We are at a disadvantage because of the real estate there is between Cape, Conway, Jonesboro. So we're still trying to figure it out. As of right now, we are sticking with webinars until we can figure it out, but it has been requested that these are moved to face-to-face events.
But for right now, we don't know when that's going to take place.
Correct. But I just want you to be aware that it is coming down the pipeline because everybody but us are doing them face-to-face.
I like the idea of being face to face, but if we had the flexibility of still joining online and maybe like once a quarter or something, we have to be at least one face to face, I think that would be doable. I agree in the value of being face to face, but every month might be difficult.
Yeah, and we are looking at maybe rotating it around. So maybe doing once a quarter, doing one in Cape, once a quarter, doing one in Conway, because we can't
There's
all
no way.
take off. I mean, yes, I am very aware because I've put way more miles on a vehicle than all of you realize.
Well, I just know that my work is not going to accept me missing 25% of my meetings. They're just not going to accept that.
And we do realize that your job comes first. So don't say that this is set in stone because it's not set in stone right now.
Well, and it necessarily is not going to be on Mondays either, correct?
That would be correct. We have to look at all aspects of it.
Okay.
Well, the one for SIU, I mean, they were cash in advance, so I'm like, is it saying that I scheduled them for $100 more than what they aired? I'm confused.
Darla, are you talking to us?
I was. Should I mute it or something here?
Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yeah, I do realize that we do have a lot of space in between all the areas. And yes, everything is going to be taken into account. Can everybody be at those locations? No. So we are going to look at to see what is the best for the masses and we may have to do like Jordan had said. We may move that meeting around and have it live in different areas, as well as supplement with the webinar, because our territory does have the space factor, because we're not like Little Rock and we have 14 chapters within a 10-mile radius. We're not like Springfield that has, 12 chapters right in the city of Springfield. So don't.
Would there be possibility that we could do like a live webinar or something like that everybody could chime in on if they live a certain distance away from the meeting?
Yes and no. We are looking at the possibility with the technology, and it is making sure that we have the technology in the right places. So all of that is being looked at. But in 2020, their goal is for every territory to have a live meeting that's face to face. So anyway, if last comments, last concerns before we set forth and slay the Monday.
Go forth and prosper, everyone.
There you go. Thanks a lot for being on the call, everyone. I will get all of this information logged, and you guys go and have a great rest of the week.
Bye.
Bye. Y'all have a great week.